Hello everyone, welcome to the Ahdurin region. I'm your host Ahdurin himself. Welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Violet already in progress. That doesn't sound right because the series is over. That's right, the series actually is over if you're listening to this or watching this. If you're this is the first episode you're seeing, there's an entire playlist of the entire Pokemon Violet journey, first time playing through, no spoilers, anything like that. You can check that out in the description down below. While you're down there, leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all those things you ought to do in supporting a YouTube channel. That's the first thing. Second thing, you might notice by the fact that I'm talking over this and the way that I'm talking over it, this is post commentary. This isn't live recording content. And there's a reason for that, which I'll actually talk about right here. So, I was finished with the series. The series is completed. We did everything we needed to do, and I thought I had put the stamp on everything. We get to go. In fact, I was actually going to get ready to do the whole little Petraberry thing, which you can see on your screen right here. I'm attempting to work with that. Trust me, you don't have to see me fiddle around with this all the time because I didn't do everything that needs to be done for the Petraberry thing. I was trying to use the item. I was trying to talk to the thing because I know you talk to this thing, the decoration itself, to initiate the event. But that's not the case because, as I found out after the fact, if I'm not mistaken, the big post-game event that you need to complete is the whole tournament thing, which I have not done anything about. I haven't rematched the gym leaders. I haven't even started the whole tournament thing, and so as a result, this isn't going to work for me. However, at this point, I didn't realize that. So I was wandering around trying to figure out what exactly to do when eventually I thought, okay, well, maybe I didn't actually finish the DLC. And so, after thinking about that for a little bit, wandering out a little bit, I went and decided, okay, what other thing could we talk about? There's not much more that we could really do about this. Because the DLC, I think it was completed. Like, we had Kieran's story complete, Carmine's story completed, our story completed. We got the turtle. All's good and dandy. And then I remembered, here in Kitakami, there is also the crystal pool. And so, I decided to go over there thinking, hey, maybe I could figure out if there's some extra thing here. Because I talked about that in the previous episode, the fact that the pool existed. And so, I eventually went there. And so eventually we reached the Crystal Pool and the Oni Mountain Summit. Now, I'll be honest, I came here really hoping something would happen because I didn't expect much to happen. I'm looking around, just trying to see if there's anything here. There's cool Pokeballs, maybe that's something interesting. But just wandering around, I thought I saw somebody at the bridge. That's actually why I went to travel this way. But no, it's actually this little like lamppost sign thing there. And so, trying to figure out what's next, maybe go over the pool itself, try and figure that out, land over here where we were with Carmine, and then this happened. And I was not expecting this. So, as we take our steps forward, looking, trying to see what's here, a plot sequence happens. We're looking around, just enjoying the pool, I suppose, when all of a sudden, boom, Terrapico shows up. Terra Lumi, okay. Kind of confused here at first, and then this giant flash of light, a fog emits, and wondering what happens when all of a sudden there he is, Professor Turo. Well, now, this is a curious development. Have I somehow broken through the boundaries of space-time? And who are you? Wait, you're not Professor Turo. Are you the AI? Are you the What's that you say? You thought I was some robot imbued with an AI personality? Now that's an idea. If I could create such a thing, it would be quite helpful. So we find out, oh, okay, this is Turo, but not Turo. I am Professor Turo. I research Pokemon in Area Zero, and yet... Well, what's this? Rhydon shows up. What? This Pokemon? Is this the Iron Serpent? We call it Miraidon. I'm being real careful about this because I know all about this sort of thing. Is that right? So its name is Miraidon. That's a good name. Miraidon, like what? You're giving me what? From the clues you've already let slip, I suppose I would have to conclude, from my perspective, this must be the future. Of course, the complexity of space-times are odd. It's possible our encounter might be occurring in a timeline connected to my own, or perhaps not. Perhaps this meeting is something more than a fleeting miracle. Why don't we exchange as much useful data as we can what little time fate has given us? So he's a Turo from our past, but he's gone to the future, which is my favorite type of thing, I'm not going to lie. Is there anything you can ask? Well, we can ask about different things, so let's start with why you're here. I don't precisely know the cause. I was analyzing some recent data in my secret lab one moment. Next time, I was looking at you. Perhaps the influence of the Crystal Palace, or not the Palace, or the causal lines between you and I. Is there anything else you wish to ask? I'm researching methods to catch Pokemon that live in different timelines, so I might transport them to the present day in my own timeline. It sounds fantastical, no doubt, but I'm drafting plans for a machine that can do it. This book captured my imagination when I read it as a child, and I never let go. Progress has been slow and beset by failures, so I've been struggling. I hope I can gain some new insight from this conversation so I can make progress and return home. Anything else? What about your family? Oh, you even want to know about my private life? I do have family, a son. He's probably at home right. Well, I suppose right now could be inaccurate. Wherever and whenever he is, I imagine he's probably lonely. Never mind. Well, now let us trade places in exchange. I say the time has come for my own questions. What is this place? Doesn't appear to be anywhere in Paldea. This here is Kitakami. I'm trying to be real vague about this. So we're at Kitakami's crystal pool. I remember reading about it in certain tests. It's said to be a place where water wells up from the ground imbued with terrestrial energy, so he thinks he's been shifted in space and time. My next question then. That Pokemon, Miraidon, tell me about it. We could choose any of these three. I don't know if there's different responses. I went with the Precious Partner one. Yes, well, your personal attachment is no to the creature has no meaning. Well, apologize. That was rude. Miraidon, like, excuse me. That book you have there, I don't recognize its cover. What is it? The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero. Would you let me see it just a moment? And then this is where I realized this is the white book. Description of Area Zero's underdepths and a record of Darapagos' awakening? Who is this Briar to have written such work? And so I was thinking about this for a little bit and then realized, oh, she is a descendant of Heath. I think maybe that'll mean something. Now I'm sharing information. So I went with that option. And I went with that option there. And now isn't that something? A descendant of the author of the original Violet book. Exploration runs in the family, I see. At any rate, that book would ignite the imagination of any true scientist, so I simply must have it. And the fog kind of shines a bit more. Oh, the mist is closing in once again. I assume that this means our time is at an end. Miraidon disappointed. But, wish I could spend longer getting to know the Iron Serpent, but I must hurry. Could I trade you that book? I will trade you, though I hate to part with something so precious, would you trade that book for a copy of the Violet book? And so I debate about this, because I wonder what would happen if I said no. I found out after the fact it doesn't matter, you're eventually going to say yes, and so I selected yes. After selecting yes there, we traded the book, and this kind of closes the loop, I suppose. We get the Violet book here, we give our white book to Turo. This one specifically is almost a carbon copy of the book that we got earlier, if not the same one. I appreciate this more than you imagine. Perhaps you take the time to go home and enjoy a bit of downtime with a good book. This is where we part, fellow adventurer and Iron Serpent. How lucky were we to meet. I bid you adieu. So imagine all this with the Mike Guy voice that I've been giving recently. And then he disappears. Goes into the fog. And we return back to the Crystal Pool. Ride a little sad. I'm looking around. And then, after all that happens, we cut here to the title slide. Which makes me think this probably should have been the end of the series. But I didn't do it. Oh well. Disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. When I was going through this, I that hit me deep for some reason. As we wake up in our standard dorm here, I don't know why that hit me so deep. I think it could be the way it's constructed in such a way where it's vague enough that you can sort of fill in your gaps about how that turns out, but it's specific enough that you know what's going to happen, or at least one possible path of what's going to happen. Because we were the child that gave the white book, which you remember from the journal entry that I looked at in the previous episode, in the finale. Not in the finale, I think it was a couple episodes before, where we were looking at all the different details and everything like that. And then a journal entry talks about, in this case, Turo, meeting a child, giving a white book. And that book is us. So we are the ones. We could look at it from a couple of different perspectives. If it's a closed loop sort of situation, we are the ones that gave Turo the book, that led him to further go down his research, eventually gave him the idea for the AI professor, who then, in conjunction with this professor, go through and make the time machine, introduce Paradox Pokemon, and set this whole thing in motion. We sort of were the ones that were able to do it, but it's almost a weird sort of... By the way, I'm going to fail in the decoration here because I still haven't realized I need to do the tournament thing. But we either... This is all the same singular timeline, at which point we've closed-looped the situation of we are the ones that provided the inspiration for him to go through his time machine thing so that eventually Arvin can connect with us and then save the world in a process. Like you could we could think about this in a few different perspectives. Either A, we are the ones that doom the world here and then save the world an hour later, or the way I like to think about it, because I'm a bit more of a positive guy, uh, we are the ones that uh, maybe saved a different timeline version of Turo. Because the way that he said, maybe I should go home and curl up with a nice book. There, depending on the math behind it, you could argue that he takes breaks anyway, and this is just one of those moments where Arvin eventually meets with them. I like to think, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna chill at home for a while, read through this book. The only downside about that is that we didn't give all the details to Briar, and Briar didn't give all the details in the book. And so there are enough empty pieces that make it so that instead of looking like a fantastical sort of adventure that you should not accomplish, it's going to look like, hey, what if I did do this? Leads down its own rabbit hole of things. But that is a little segment here. Very short episode, but I wanted to put this in there because I knew this was a detail that is important. I thought about putting this in the episode, but it wouldn't have fit because of post commentary and all that. So instead, its own standalone little thing. Make it. I think I jotted this down. File name is 21.2 because it is the extra episode of the Indigo Disk. And then now we've officially closed the loop here. Like I've mentioned, Pokemon Violet is complete. Post game stuff. I'm gonna be honest. Unless it's now, you let me know. Because I probably won't be, based on the plans I have for this year, going back to Pokemon Violet anytime soon. If you have in terms of like storyline gameplay, if you have real interest in me playing through the post game and having that be its own separate series, please let me know in the comment section here or anywhere else. I'm happy to take that into consideration, and then once we get through a few of my early year plans, we can go back, go through the post game, do the Petraberry thing. It's going to be months later, but that's kind of how this entire channel works. We play games months after they're popular. So let me know whatever your idea is. My game is also starting to mess up a little bit here. Let me know what your ideas is. Thank you very much for listening, watching, and supporting. Thank you for going through this entire series with me. Here's a little bonus episode. Pokemon Violet, you can put the stamp on it. The main storyline, the DLC, and basically all of the important stuff, I suppose. The Petraberry thing is its own separate thing, but the big stuff is complete here. So thank you everyone for listening, watching, and supporting in any way, shape, or form that you do. And until next time, take care.